So welcome everybody. Thank you for taking some time to learn about North Dakota's college savings plan. It is a 529 plan, and I will explain that as we go through the presentation, exactly what that means, what sort of advantages and benefits that you get from using a 529 plan, and specifically what sort of advantages that you get from using North Dakota's 529 college savings plan. And I think you'll find that whether you have young children, teenagers, whether you're a grandparent with any age child living in state or out of state, that this can be a really effective tool for you to help them save for their future higher education expenses. And in some cases, expenses that are coming up maybe sooner in their life cycle. And we'll talk a little bit about all of those things today. So as you can see from this opening screen, this is North Dakota's 529 College Savings Plan. We have a full service website at collegesaveforyou.com. And you can obviously learn about everything I'm going to talk about today by going to that website. And you can enroll yourself as the participant, account owner, and the beneficiary or child through an online enrollment process. This is a statewide plan. It's a national plan. We have people that use this from all over the United States. So obviously it is not necessary to come to the Bank of North Dakota for any reason, and you can do everything online. And we have full service customer service that you can get to through a toll-free number and do anything that you need to do once your account is created by, again, logging online. When you go to the website, lower right-hand corner, you're going to see this brown box. It says Get Educated. You can sign up to receive information if you're not quite ready to open up an account. And of course, as I've mentioned, you can do that account enrollment anytime you'd like just by simply going to the website. And once you have an account open, you can log into your existing accounts and open up a new account from there, and it speeds up the process because it will pre-fill some information. So today we're going to kind of run through a broad barometer of reasons why you should have a 529 plan, what it means with the rising cost of education. Is it effective to go to a 4-year school or 2-year school? What's best for your child or grandchild? How we can help. It is an investment. And then what we do to fortify your plan by giving you the opportunity to apply for some matches and get even more money into those accounts for those children that you love so much. So most of us probably online have some sort of education, whether that's a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, or maybe another career in another lifetime. And as we know, and what we've been talking about for 20 or 30 years is, going to school continues to get more expensive. Even when schools, like this year, the legislature in North Dakota froze tuition, I believe, but schools continue to raise fees or other expenses. The cost of living is an equation or part of the equation of going to school. So, what does it cost to go to school? This chart just kind of indicates, where we're at with North Dakota public and private schools compared to private U.S. colleges and public U.S. colleges. And you can kind of see where these costs are climbing to. Hopefully that's going to trend down at some point as schools continue to change their philosophy, less brick and mortar. And hopefully you can also have that discussion with your children about, what's best for them and what sort of education should they be pursuing. But with all that said about, the rising cost of education, there's the solution, and it is the 529 plan. And in North Dakota, it's the College Save 529 plan. And it really allows your investment to grow state and federal tax deferred. And as long as you take a qualified distribution, and I'll cover exactly what that means later on, you'll pay no taxes on your investment earnings. So that means all this money you've put away for, let's say, 3 to 5 years or 10 to 20 years or 18 to 24 years is growing and accumulating on your investment choices. And you have more money to spend towards those higher education expenses for your children or grandchildren. North Dakota has been administering the 529 plan since 2001 right here at the Bank of North Dakota. So we've had the plan from its inception. We relaunched it in 2007 to make it more robust. Went with Vanguard and Ascensus, as you see their logos on the screen here, as our plan manager and investment house of choice. And then we have, again, beefed it up to help make this a really vibrant and important part of your opportunities to save for these children through some incentives, which we'll cover. So we continue to be the program administrator, and we hope that that's been very successful for the tens of thousands of people that have chosen to open up a college save account with us. In addition to that, Bank of North Dakota does a lot of things in the education arena. We have a staff of college planning people that are focusing on financial literacy now more than ever, but you can go to the College Planning Center website and learn about what that means. If you have children in high school, you want to learn about scholarships and financial aid and how to pay for schooling and what choices are available for you, how do you get aid, how is the university system involved? That's a great place to start. And of course, encourage them to talk to their high school counselors and financial aid directors at the colleges, and definitely plan on taking tours of universities if you guys are in that stage, and learn what might be the best program and the best location to pursue those sorts of things. The other thing we do at the bank, and have been doing it again since the mid 2000s, is Dollars for Scholars. We've got a couple co-directors that manage that plan. In fact, they just awarded a ton of money out in scholarships here just this spring. So North Dakota Dollars for Scholars is definitely something that's important. Pass that information on to kids in high school. They fill out a profile and then have access to scholarships from their local community, statewide from the bank, and even national scholarships through Scholarship America. And then we have our alternative loan program at the bank, which we've been doing since 1967, with federal loans and guaranteeing federal loans, and launching this alternative loan program in the 90s. And so that's been a very robust part of our portfolio to help families and children access the money they need to continue their higher education. This screen kind of shows you some of those highlights and qualifications. We do this loan for no fees when you're a North Dakota resident, whether that child goes to an in-state school or an out-of-state school. There's some limitations on loans of the amount we'll give out, but we can also make an exception depending on what your degree is and what that future earning potential is for the student. And then of course we have super competitive interest rates. Now interest rates have definitely gone up after being really, really low and very stagnant for about a decade. And now you can see our variable interest rates are at 6.44. And fixed at 6.29, which is actually lower than the variable interest rate. So that's interesting. We do also cap interest rates. They can only go up 1% per year, and a lifetime cap of 10%. So we put some things in place to make sure that we're keeping debt as low as possible for you and your family and these students going off to school. Something else that we started several years ago, probably 5-6 years in now, is a loan refinance program. So you can take all of your existing student loans, or if you know somebody that has student loans, private, public, out-of-state loans, and refinance them into a single loan that we service at the Bank of North Dakota on your behalf. As a North Dakota resident, we're doing that again for no fees, and offering you a variable or fixed rate. And these next couple of slides just kind of go into some detail as to what a lower interest rate, what a refinanced consolidated student loan means to you in terms of your payments, and how much interest that you end up saving and paying over time. Now, what you're going to see on this chart is our interest rates over here on the right, and then a current lender loan of 7.25%. That rate is probably not very accurate. Our rates were in the 2 and 3% range, 12 to 18 months ago, and we haven't shown this particular lender rate increase. The private lender rates have also gone way up. So even in this scenario, you can see how much money you can save. Now imagine if that other rate is 10 to 12%, and how much money we could potentially save you when you refinance all your loans with us. And this again is a very similar chart to how many payments you end up making, how much money that you save in interest. And again, that 7.25% under current lender probably needs to be changed, and we'll work on doing that here in the future. Okay, why you're here, the focus of this presentation. At the Bank of North Dakota, it's great to cover all those other things that are very important. As you know, the Bank of North Dakota does a ton of economic development. We work with every financial institution and credit union and a ton of state agencies to help the citizens of North Dakota have more opportunities, is a great way to put that. And one of the things that we've been doing for a while is this College Save program, and we're going to cover the tax advantages, how flexible and broad the eligibility is, how you can pay for higher education expenses, our fees, what can you contribute, and these grant programs or match programs that we have to offer. First and foremost, we're going to touch on this several times because it's so important, not only with our 529 plan, but with every 529 plan offered in the nation. You get state and federal tax deferred growth, meaning grow your investment tax-free for any number of years. And when you take a qualified withdrawal, which is tuition, room and board, books, fees, a computer for those children when they go to school, required supplies or materials for their major, whether they're pursuing a master's or getting a PhD or going to medical school or law school, all of these things would be considered qualified expense opportunities for you to help offset those student loan needs, reducing their debt, giving them a jump start on their careers in life when they get out of school. So that's what a 529 plan does best. Grows your investment state and federal tax deferred. Now, there are some new qualified distributions that the federal government will occasionally throw at us. And then we have to institute them, and they're good things for the students. Now you can pay back up to $10,000 lifetime towards the beneficiary named on your College Save account towards their student loans. But the unique thing is, even if you don't have another College Save plan for one of their siblings, or they no longer have a College Save plan because you used all the money, you can also use any leftover money from one beneficiary to pay for their siblings' student loans up to $10,000 lifetime as well. And then apprenticeship programs approved by the federal government are now also considered a qualified expense, which is fantastic because, as you're probably hearing, right, four-year institutions may not be for everybody, especially if your child or grandchild's not sure what they want to do or what they want to study. Maybe they need to wait. Maybe a 2-year or vocational program is better. Maybe a power plant school or lineman school, or pursuing an apprenticeship of some nature is the way to go. So definitely be conscious of that. Not everybody needs to leave and go off to a 4-year university if they're not sure what they want to be doing. And of course, these expenses that you can take out as qualified, very broad. 2-year, 4-year, public, private, in-state or out of state. We always get that question. Well, they have to use it to go to a North Dakota school. That is not accurate. They can go to any type of school, even schools abroad that participate in the federal education loan program that the federal government offers. You could use 529 plan money for those expenses at that school, even if it's not within the United States borders. And then a really cool thing too that the federal government threw at us probably, 7-8 years ago already, is if you're sending your children to private or religious K through 12 schooling, you can save in a 529 plan and expense up to $10,000 for tuition only. That's tuition only, and attendance at an elementary or secondary, public or private or religious school in North Dakota, K through 12. Now, if you're using a College Save to save for that, and you're also saving in that same bucket for that same child for their future higher education expenses, make sure you're choosing different investments for those pools of money within that same plan. Because one, you're going to use that money sooner and be expensing it on a rotating basis as you're still saving for college in that fund. So the money exposed to college should be maybe more risky, so you can get time, leverage that time, and more aggressive investment attitude or stance to earn more over a longer period of time, whereas the money you're using for K through 12 private or religious school tuition might be more conservative because you're expensing it sooner and you're using that money on a rotating basis as your child's going through their education experience K through 12. So keep that in mind. So this slide, very basic, shows you initially investing some money, continuing to invest, and what it means to grow your account tax deferred and how much more money can be there at the end of that particular time frame, whether you're saving $25 a month or $50 a month or $1,000 a month, right? A tax deferred growth plan is just going to give you more money to expense tax free. So one of the things that we did in 2006 and 7 when we relaunched this advisor sold college save plan to a direct sold model, meaning you as a resident, as an individual, can come directly to our website and open up a 529 plan college save account on your own without the need for a financial advisor. Okay, that's what we changed in 06 and 07. When we did that, we decided to institute and got the legislature's permission through passing a law that we can offer you an in-state tax deduction. So not only are you growing your investment state and federal tax deferred on the growth side, all of your contributions annually can be deducted from your North Dakota taxable income up to $5,000 a year as head of household or single filer, or up to $10,000 annually as a married couple, whether you're the parent or grandparent or godparents or anybody, right, can take advantage of these in-state tax deductions. The really, really cool thing is you don't even need to be the account owner to take advantage of this in-state tax deduction. So let's say you're an uncle or aunt or grandparent or godparent, and you don't even own the College Save 529 plan account. You can contribute to that plan and deduct those contributions from your North Dakota taxable income. Now, the caveat is, in all of these scenarios, it can only be North Dakota's College Save Plan. So you have to be contributing to the College Save Plan to get this additional benefit. Rollovers from another plan do not count towards the state tax deduction, but new contributions, once you roll over your 529 plan into our plan, do count. And of course, we have people moving to the state from other states. They want to take advantage of this in-state tax deduction. They want to take advantage of the match programs I'm going to talk about. They want to take advantage of the Vanguard investments I'm going to talk about. And so this is a great way to be able to leverage this in-state plan for your benefit. But remember, rollovers don't count, only new contributions, and you don't even need to be the account owner to take advantage of this great in-state tax deduction. Again, just a scenario from way back showing some assumptions of what our tax brackets are, how much money you might be contributing, and how much more you can save to expense for future higher education fees and tuition and room and board, and what it gives you as you do this over many, many years and a series of years to take advantage of this in-state tax deduction. So one of the things that we always get questions on is, what if my child or grandchild doesn't go to school? They're 6 months old, they're 1 year old, there's 2 year old, they're 10 years old, and we don't know what they're going to do. Well, there's no age limit on when you have to use the money that you're putting into this 529 plan account. And, you know, there's nothing to be worried about. There's not a time horizon or a sunset on having one of these accounts opened for your child. And it doesn't really affect their financial aid either. So it's great to be able to use this as an opportunity to think about the future without worrying about locking them into anything, right? So A1, no age limit or time limit on using the money. You can also use the money for one of the other children's beneficiaries. In other words, a member of the family or sibling, right? So let's say you have a 16 or an 18-year-old and a 9-year-old, and the 18-year-old goes through college and you don't use all the money and there's money left over, and your 9-year-old's now 15 and they have their own college save plan account. the older child doesn't have student loans, they've graduated, they're off doing their thing, you can roll the money down from that child to the other child and give them even more assets for their future education. So that's a great thing to know about, to be flexible, and the 529 plan allows you to do that. And then at the end of the day, you can take what's called a non-qualified withdrawal. We don't see this happen too often, but you can do it because life happens, right? People pass away, people get divorced, people move out of state and want to make some changes. So you can take a non-qualified withdrawal. Your money going into the plan, regardless of how you contribute it, whether it's from your checking or savings account, electronically, whether you have a spouse that wants to do a payroll deduction into the plan, whether you're writing a check occasionally, whether you're doing a consistent monthly contribution, all of that money is going in that it's already been taxed, okay? You're growing your investment tax-free. So when you take a non-qualified withdrawal, meaning it's not for K through 12 or apprenticeship programs. It's not room and board, books, fees, tuition, or a laptop or computer or materials for their child's major. It's non-qualified, okay? Then you will pay taxes and a 10% penalty on the earnings portion only. And the reason you're paying that 10% penalty is because the federal government doesn't want people to shelter income into a 529 plan and not expense it for the reason they were allowed to grow it for all those years tax-free. So that's why there is the potential for a 10% penalty on the federal side for your earnings growth, okay? Or federal and state income taxes and the 10% penalty. Again, we don't see it happen very often. Generally, most people are expensing most of their money or rolling it down to another child, or maybe even keeping in an account for a future grandchild, right? So again, there's lots of flexibility in these scenarios. So one of the things that we do at the Bank of North Dakota, as you may know, is we're trying to be here for the citizens of the state. We've been around for 100+ years. We do a lot of things that are very visible in the state, and a lot of things that aren't that visible to help the residents and taxpayers of the state. So when you open up a college save plan as an in-state resident, we waive a $20 account management fee per child that you're opening up accounts for. So we're going to waive those fees. You're not going to pay those fees. Now, on the investment side, because we have to invest this money and there's fees involved there, we keep our fees as low as we can. Currently, they're at 48 basis points. That's less than a half a percentage point on your net assets in the plan. So the scenario would be, let's say you have $1,000 invested for 12 months with us. We're going to charge you $4.80 for the account creation, the investment, any investment changes, your access to the accounts, all the paperwork, anything you need to do in the future. That's going to be the fee. So we're trying to keep our fees as low as possible. We're not trying to make money off the backs of residents using the plan, but we do have to administer the plan. We do have fees that are involved with this, and it is an investment. So we have to have some ability to do that investing for you. The other really cool thing about our plan is it doesn't take a lot of money to open up the account. Now, sure, you can open it with a sizable contribution, but you can also open it for as little as $25, and subsequent contributions can be as little as $25. Now, the reason I use the spouse scenario for payroll deductions is because the state of North Dakota, as a state employee, you cannot do a payroll deduction. The payroll system does not work with our plan because of overtime and bonuses and things like that particular employees may receive, right? So it does not work as a state employee, but a spouse could do a payroll deduction, and a spouse could contribute $12.50 every 2 weeks into the plan, or $25 minimum monthly. And then, of course, automatic or electronic contributions can be for any dollar amount that you'd like to put in. So that can be higher than the $25. And then maximum contributions per beneficiary are $269,000 that can accrue in a single account. So that's always an opportunity. If you have come into some money somebody passes away and there's some estate planning going on, definitely encourage you to talk to a financial advisor or CPA before you do anything like that, to make sure you're spreading out this money from a gift tax consequence inclusion process, but you have the ability to do that into the plan as well. So very low lows and very high highs to make contributions into the college save plan. So who needs college? Well, who knows who goes to school or what type of school nowadays, right? We talked about that already. VOTEC, apprenticeships, 2-year public-private schools. But this scenario I'm showing you right now is very, very telling. And many of you may have experienced this self or know somebody who's experiencing this right now. So this chart is very simple. On the left, it shows saving $21,600 over the course of 18 years with a very nominal 5% average return, right? 1 year you're going to get 12% returns to the positive, and the next year you might lose 5%, but overall this is a 5% net return over 18 years. And that equates to $35,000 or $13,400 in earnings. That same dollar amount, if you're borrowing that $35,000 because you didn't save, and as you can see from the previous loan charts that we just showed you in current interest rates, we're just showing a 6% interest rate right now. You go into repayment on that $35,000, your monthly payment is close to $400. It's going to take you 10 years or more, and you're going to end up paying $11,000 plus an interest. So you can save $21,600 or borrow $35,000 and end up paying back $46,000. So this is why it's important to at least consider using the college save plan if you want to save for your children or grandchildren's future higher education expenses, because taking out loans can be very, very pricey and very challenging. Average student loan debt, this is firsthand, this is from colleges reporting in the state, is nearly $32,000, and that's not all the colleges reporting, and it's not accounting for all debt. So it's a very true number, this $30,000 to $40,000 range. Now remember too, your child's going to go off to school. They're going to maybe work while they're in high school. You've saved some money in the 529 plan. They're going to get work study or work in school. They're going to get some scholarships, hopefully. They're going to work during the summer and intern. All of those things will drive down your cost of college from those first slides that we showed you. But it's nice to protect that downside and try to reduce your student loan debt as much as possible so that you're not in this scenario in the orange there of borrowing. Also remember, as a parent or grandparent, kids who go off to college don't have a credit history. And in order to get a loan outside of the federal government, they need a cosigner. And cosigners are responsible for that debt that they're cosigning for. And remember, with the Federal Education Loan Program, or when you fill out the FAFSA, the FAFSA, that's the free application for federal student aid, the federal government only gives you so much as an undergraduate per year, that you can borrow. So between what you've saved, what you're borrowing from the federal government, and what you're expected to contribute, your EFC, your expected family contribution, there's a gap, and that's that private student loan dollars we're talking about. And we want you to reduce that as much as possible, hopefully by utilizing a plan like College Save to do that. So, as I mentioned, you can do this 529 plan account opening at collegesaveforyou.com. You can do this yourself, and you do this online. Make sure you know what your investment choices are. We're going to cover that in a second. Make sure you have your checkbook in front of you so you can set up your electronic banking. You have your routing number, and you have your account number. You're going to need to know the child's birth date and have their social security number. And then the rest of the form that you're doing online is very self-explanatory. You're basically just inputting your name and information and birth date and addresses and social security numbers, opting into some grants, and then going through the process of having an account opened that you can access at the end of that process. So it's very, very easy to do online. If you do need to do paper, you can go to that same website, and instead of starting the enrollment process go under Manage Accounts and Forms, and the very first form you're going to see is the North Dakota paper application or enrollment form that you can print off and mail to our processing center in Kansas City. But we certainly encourage you to do everything online because it's so simple and the account is opened immediately and you're contributing and off and running almost within 20 to 25 minutes. So very easy process. The second caveat is, earlier I mentioned we used to be a financial advisor driven plan from 01 to 06, 07, and then we got rid of that so that you can do this directly yourself. Well, we still have all those financial advisors that you have the ability to go seek advice from. Nearly 400 to 500 advisors in every city across North Dakota, 50 to 60 firms and growing. Now, the fee is a little bit more. It's 78 basis points, I believe, is what our fee is now, which is 30 basis points over what you do it directly. But for 30 basis points or $3 on a $1,000 investment, you can seek out expert analysis and advice from a financial advisor, because maybe you want to look at what you're saving for retirement, what your current investments are, how much should you be saving for your future college child or grandchild. And sometimes that's important to talk to a financial advisor with, so they can also assist you with opening up an account. And if you need help finding one of those financial advisors, please reach out to me directly and I can point you in the right direction. So directly, do it yourself, 20 minutes, you're done. Future accounts just open up by logging into your account. And the other thing too to remember is you do want to open up an account for each child or grandchild. You do not want a single account. The qualified expenses can only be used for the named beneficiary on the account. Remember, we're going to get into investing now. Remember, the age of the child can sometimes dictate what your investments are. So you want separate accounts for separate children, right? Because your 10-year-old is going to be invested differently than your 6-year-old, who's going to be invested differently than your 1-year-old. Okay, so you want different accounts for each child for those reasons. And third, which I'm going to cover after this investment area, is each child has access to get grants from us. And if you only open up one account, that named beneficiary is the only one that's going to get the grants or matches. So you want separate accounts for each child or grandchild to get the most access and take advantage of the investments and match money that we're going to cover. So when you go to collegesaveforyou.com, there's an investment tab. I encourage you to click on it. It's going to really point out what I'm talking about is we invest through Vanguard. They are the 800-pound gorilla on the investment front, right? We keep our fees super low by using them. You have 6 static portfolios that you can choose from, which you're seeing right now on the screen. To the upper left is the aggressive growth portfolio. That 60-40 split is showing you that 60% of your 100% of stock portfolio, right? This is 100% stocks. 60% is in Vanguard's institutional total stock market fund. That means it's invested in the United States, and 40% is in international stocks. So you're getting a global picture, over 5,000 different stocks split up 60% United States, 40% international, to give you this 100% stock portfolio. So this is a very, very broad way and cheap way to invest for your children or grandchildren. The next portfolio over to the right is a growth portfolio that takes into some bonds. The moderate growth portfolio takes in even more bonds, so on and so forth, okay? In a lot of these portfolios, you can choose to invest in. You will remain invested in any of these until you choose to make a change. In our plan and any 529 plan, you can only make an investment change up to 2 times per calendar year. That means your existing investment can only be changed 2 times per calendar year. Not our rule, federal government rule, to keep fees down and make sure people are taking a long-term view of their investing choices. Okay, new money coming into our plan can always be designated into any one of our investment portfolios. It's only the existing investment that has limitations of being changed only 2 times per calendar year. So Your second opportunity to invest with us is what's called age-based tracks. These tracks that you're seeing on screen right now take into account your risk tolerance or your investment philosophy, whether that's aggressive on the right side, moderate in the middle, or conservative on the left. And then you'll see to the far left, the age of the child. So you take the age of the child, let's say a 5 or 6-year-old, go to the right, let's choose the aggressive growth option. And that green is signifying 87.5% stocks and 12.5% bonds. So if you were to choose that investment for your 5-year-old, every couple of years, when they turn 7 and when they turn 9 and when they turn 11, so on and so forth, you're going to see that portfolio change automatically on their birth date every couple of years. So this investment style or strategy puts you on autopilot. Super aggressive when they're younger, less aggressive as they get closer to needing the money when they go to school. And when you look at these portfolios, it's pretty clear with the coloring. Green is stocks, dark blue is bonds, and the medium blue or lighter blue is your cash exposure. And you're going to see more of that cash exposure in our more conservative investment choices in this track when they become 13, 15, and 17. So keep that in mind. If you don't want to be super conservative later on as they age, you also have the ability to use these options, keep the money in a particular investment strategy or style for a longer period of time rather than it changing every couple of years. You can also mix and match and put a portion of your money in one of these tracks and a portion of your money in one of our static portfolios as well. So just keep in mind, 6 static choices, 3 age-based tracks. These are the choices you have within our plan. And then if you go to the investment tab on the College Save website, you can see prices and performance dating all the way back to 2006, 10 years, 5 years, 3 years, 1 year, and year to date. So what have these funds done just in the last 5 months as well? Now remember, you always really want to be looking at those 3, 5, and 10-year benchmarks because that's giving you historical returns versus what the market's doing day to day or year to year because you're investing for a longer term solution for higher education. Okay, now we're going to get to this super exciting stuff that the Bank of North Dakota is very proud to be able to offer all families associated with the state of North Dakota, quite frankly. In 2011, we launched what was called Children First then, and now it's called the New Baby Match. The New Baby Match is a spectacular program that allows every single newborn in the state of North Dakota, whether they're born here, get adopted here, are fostered here, or move into the state before they turn 1, a $200 no income restriction match. So as long as you open up a College Save Plan account before the child's first birthday, we're going to match the first $200 you put into the account. You can put the money in right away, or you have 12 months to put that $200 in order to get the full match. It's super exciting. We've been doing this since 2011. You can imagine how many kids have been able to take advantage of this. 10 to 15,000 children in the state of North Dakota have had this new baby match given to them by great people like yourself who have chosen to open up a College Save account and received this match. The second match here is called the Kindergarten Kickoff Match. This is newer. We launched this 2 years ago. And it allows your 5 and 6-year-olds, when they go into kindergarten, to get, again, a match of $100 with no income restrictions. That means every single child going into kindergarten, when they turn 5 or 6 years old, gets this $100 match. And in fact, the baby, who you may have got the new baby match for, can also get this additional match. You just opt into it when you log into your account and they're 5 or 6 years old. It's literally a single click and another press of a button, and you're going to get that designation. And as soon as you put $100 in for that child, we're going to match it with another $100. So make sure you do this when they're 5 or 6. And you do have to contribute that $100 within 12 months of opting in or before the child turns 7 years old. So remember, the first two programs, no income restrictions. So you could make $20,000 a year or you could make $10 million a year. It's not going to stop you from being able to get these matches for your newborn or kindergartner. And the third match is the B&D match. This is an income restricted match, but 4 out of 5 families qualify in North Dakota, and we just increased the income levels. So if you're married, filing jointly, earning $150,000 adjusted gross or below, you'll also be able to get the $300 income-based match for every child who has not turned 16 years old that you open up an account for. For grandparents, that's significant because that 16-year-old does not have to live in the state of North Dakota. So you can do this for your grandchildren living anywhere in the United States. So let's go back to this slide. You've got the new baby match. And at the same time you're applying for the new baby match, you can be applying for the income-based B&D $300 match based on your income. So you can get a newborn right out of the gate, $500 matched from the state-owned Bank of North Dakota. For single filers, it's $100,000 adjusted gross income or below to get the $300 match. And these are one-time matches for all of the programs. So now let's go back to this slide, right? You have a new baby, you get the account opened when they're 6 months old because they got a social security number, you get the $200 match. You submit the paperwork for the B&D match because we need the first 2 pages of your North Dakota tax return. So that's a very short paper application. You can find under our form section, manage accounts and forms, submit the B&D match application. You got the $200 new baby match. Now you got the $300 B&D match. You put in $500. You've doubled that $500 to $1,000. You keep contributing now monthly $25 or $50, and when they turn 5, you opt into the kindergarten kickoff match. So now you've gotten $600 in matches, plus hopefully 6 years of growth on your investment. So we're happy to be able to offer this. If you don't do it online and you do choose to do a paper application, you can opt in on a page by simply check marking some boxes. Be sure to attach the first 2 pages of your North Dakota tax return so that we see your filing status, your residency, and your adjusted gross income. In the near future, I'm happy to announce this will also be an electronic process, and we're going to be working with the North Dakota Tax Department to verify your income. So we're going to make this particular program even easier to qualify for everybody in the state. And we're excited to be able to do that, but we're about 6 months to a year out from being able to do that right now. So hopefully you guys can all take advantage of the new baby match, the kindergarten kickoff match now or in the future, and of course the B&D match based on your income. One final thought before we go into some questions, if anybody has questions, is you also have the opportunity when your account open to use our UGift platform. The UGift platform is really easy. You just invite family and friends to contribute during special occasions, and they can contribute simply by sending a check-in with a code on it, or they can even set up electronic banking through the UGift platform into your account. Again, they don't need to be the account owner to contribute to your plan or to take advantage of the in-state tax deduction. So definitely look into that. And then there's the You Promise Rewards program, which has been with our plan since 2006 and 7. If you do a lot of online shopping, the You Promise program offers you thousands of shopping opportunities, and you can get cash back and apply that money towards your college save account. It's free, optional service, up to you whether you want to utilize it or not. And of course, lots of disclosure. This is an investment plan, no guarantees of earnings. You can lose money in investment. Please take a holistic long-term look at your investing, just like your 401k, deferred comp, Roth IRAs, anything like that. You want to take into account that investing is a long-term approach in order to hopefully maximize your contributions. And then the final thing that I'm going to say is the federal government, as I said earlier, likes to throw curveballs at us. And this year's curveball is what is called Secure 2.0. In the future, beginning in 2024 and beyond, any money remaining in your 529 plan account will be able to be utilized as a rollover into a Roth IRA for that same named beneficiary. The IRS is coming out with guidelines for us, which they have yet to do. But a couple of the caveats are the plan has to have been in existence for at least 15 years. The money in the plan has to have been in there for at least 5 years. And when you roll the dollars out, it can still only be the maximum allowed contribution into a Roth IRA for your age and tax bracket. So, but again, another flexible, fantastic way to utilize your money later on if it's not all used for the purpose of the 529 plan, which is higher education and some of those other caveats with student loans and K through 12 private or religious school tuition. So that's a great benefit that the federal government has deemed worth us 529 plans instituting, and there'll be more to come on that. And of course, as an account owner now or in the future, you will be notified of this Secure 2.0 Act and how we're going to launch it in the future.